A Dhammapada story, Buddha's teachings on greed and regret. Welcome to a journey of discovering profound lessons from the Dhammapada, a treasure trove of Buddha's timeless teachings that bring mindfulness and serenity to our daily lives. Life is like a flowing river. Every action, word, and thought we contribute is like a tiny drop of water that shapes its current. But what is the true source that guides it all? In today's first lesson, Buddha emphasized, the mind leads all things. The mind is their master. The mind creates them. If one speaks or acts with an impure mind, suffering follows, just as the wheel follows the ox that pulls the cart. On the other hand, if the mind is pure, good words and actions will always bring happiness, just as a shadow faithfully follows its form. Have you ever wondered why, in the same situation, some people experience suffering while others find peace? The answer lies not in external circumstances, but in the state of our inner mind. Today, let's dive into a story together to uncover the incredible power of the mind, a force that can shape both happiness and suffering in our lives. The story, The Greedy and Selfish Farmer. Once upon a time, in a small village at the foot of a mountain, there lived a farmer named John. John was a hard-working man who owned a fertile piece of land. However, instead of appreciating what he had, John's heart was consumed with greed and envy. He would often glance at his neighbor's field, which looked greener and more bountiful than his own, and his mind would fill with jealousy. One day, John thought to himself, "Why is his field better than mine? If I had that land, I'd surely be wealthier." Blinded by greed, John began plotting to take over his neighbor's land. He spread rumors that his neighbor owed him money and even fabricated stories accusing his neighbor of stealing his crops. The villagers, unsure of the truth but wary of getting involved, gradually distanced themselves from the poor neighbor. Eventually, John succeeded in forcing his neighbor to sell the land at a meager price. Feeling triumphant, John believed he had won, but from the moment he acquired the land, strange things began to happen. John's new field soon turned barren. No matter how much effort he put into cultivating it, the crops wouldn't grow. Weeds spread everywhere, and the land seemed cursed. Meanwhile, the villagers, now aware of John's deceitful actions, began to avoid him. John found himself increasingly isolated and despondent. One day, as John sat sorrowfully by his barren field, he noticed a monk passing through the village. The monk, seeing John's troubled expression, paused and asked, "Why are you so sad, my son?" John poured out his heart, recounting the entire story, from his greed-driven actions to the miserable state he found himself in. The monk listened quietly and then gently said, "You thought taking someone else's land would bring you happiness, but you were mistaken. Your mind is the root of all your troubles. When your intentions are impure, suffering is all you will reap. Remember, the mind leads all things. The mind is their master. The mind creates them. If one speaks or acts with an impure mind, suffering follows, just as the wheel follows the ox that pulls the cart." Hearing these words, John felt as though a veil had been lifted from his eyes. He realized that his greed and malicious thoughts were the true cause of his suffering. From that day forward, John resolved to change. He began tending to his fields with sincerity and care. He sought out his neighbor to apologize and returned the land he had wrongfully taken. Not only that, but John also started helping others in the village, living honestly and letting go of his harmful thoughts. Amazingly, as John transformed his heart and actions, everything around him improved. His fields became fertile once again, yielding abundant harvests. The villagers, seeing his genuine change, grew to respect and accept him once more. John not only earned forgiveness from his neighbor, but also found a profound sense of peace within himself. From that day on, John understood a powerful truth. Happiness or suffering doesn't come from what we possess, but from the state of our mind. When our mind is pure and kind, life will blossom beautifully. Lessons learned from the story. 1. The mind is the root of all actions. A pure mind leads to right actions and inner peace. 2. Greed and selfishness will never bring true happiness. 3. Forgiveness and living with honesty foster lasting peace and joy. Core message. 1. The mind is the root of all actions. Buddha's teachings in the first verse of the Dhammapada emphasize that the mind is the source of all actions and their consequences in life. A pure mind leads to positive outcomes. When the mind is clear and virtuous, our words and actions naturally align with goodness. This not only benefits ourselves, but also creates harmony and happiness for those around us. Real-life example. A person who works sincerely and helps colleagues selflessly earns respect and affection from others. Kindness not only brings happiness to others, but also fills one's own heart with peace and lightness. An impure mind creates suffering. When the mind is dominated by greed, hatred, or delusion, our actions and words become misguided, leading to negative consequences. Buddha compared this to a cartwheel following the ox. Such consequences will inevitably follow us throughout life. Real-life example. A person driven by jealousy who spreads false rumors about others might isolate themselves socially and lose credibility. Hatred only leads to loneliness and prolonged suffering. A right understanding of the mind. Buddha taught not only to act virtuously, but to start from the transformation of the mind. Only when the root of the mind is pure can external actions truly be good. 2. Happiness does not come from what we possess. One of the most common misconceptions is that accumulating wealth, power, or status will bring happiness. However, Buddha's teachings reveal that true happiness doesn't come from external possessions, but from a state of inner contentment and balance. Immaterial possessions provide temporary happiness. The joy derived from wealth or fame is often fleeting. Once lost, it can lead to anxiety, sorrow, or emptiness. Example. A wealthy person who constantly competes, doubts others, or worries about losing their possessions will never truly feel at peace. A happiness comes from inner peace. Buddha taught that when the mind is free from greed, hatred, and delusion and reaches a state of balance, true happiness can be found. This joy is unaffected by external circumstances and arises from inner self-contentment and serenity. Example. Someone who leads a simple life, finding satisfaction in what they have, often experiences a sense of lightness and peace that those chasing ambition never achieve. Practicing mental transformation. To achieve a state of mental happiness, we need to reflect, recognize when our mind is influenced by greed, hatred, or delusion. Meditate. Use meditation to cultivate calm and stability in the mind. Live mindfully. Focus on the present, avoiding endless desires or regrets about the past. 3. The importance of transforming the mind. John's story in the lesson serves as a vivid illustration. At first, he allowed greed to control him, leading to unwholesome actions and suffering as a result. After meeting the monk, he realized that change must begin within his mind. This not only helped him improve his own life, but also transformed his entire existence. Connecting the story to modern life. 1. Competition in work or society. In modern society, rivalry and envy are no longer confined to farmland as in the past. Instead, they appear everywhere, especially in workplaces and on social media. A real-life example. An employee feels dissatisfied when a colleague gets promoted. Instead of working to improve their skills, they spread rumors or undermine their colleague to gain an advantage. Consequence. Relationships with colleagues deteriorate. Dishonesty damages their reputation, and long-term career opportunities are lost. A lesson from the story. Just like John in the story, jealousy only leads to isolation and failure. Rather than engaging in unhealthy competition, learn to celebrate others' successes and focus on your own growth and strengths. 2. Consequences of dishonesty. In reality, dishonest behavior may bring temporary benefits, but over time, it often results in significant negative consequences. A real-life example. A business owner uses deceptive tactics, such as selling low-quality products or making false advertisements, to boost profits. Initially, they may earn a substantial amount of money, but when the truth is revealed, the business loses customer trust and faces potential bankruptcy. Consequence. Trust is destroyed. Customers are lost, and long-term damage to the business becomes inevitable. A lesson from the story. John paid the price for lying to seize his neighbor's land. His story reminds us that honesty not only protects our reputation, but also forms a strong foundation for sustainable success. 3. The power of change. One of the most inspiring elements of John's story is his transformation after realizing his mistakes. This is a valuable lesson for modern life. True change begins within, and it is the key to improving ourselves and our environment. A real-life example. A leader who was once known for their temper and constant criticism of employees takes an emotional intelligence course. They begin to change their communication style, listen actively, and support their team. As a result, the company's performance improves, and workplace relationships become more positive. Positive outcome. One individual's transformation radiates positive energy throughout the team, enhancing the work environment and productivity. A lesson from the story. Like John, inner transformation not only helps us overcome personal failures, but also brings meaningful benefits to those around us. Practical lessons from the story. 1. Be content and avoid negative comparisons. Instead of engaging in unhealthy competition, focus on your strengths and learn from those who excel. 2. Maintain honesty in all circumstances. Honesty is the foundation of trust and long-lasting relationships. 3. Change begins from within. Start by recognizing your mistakes and improving yourself step by step. When your mindset changes, your actions will follow, leading to better outcomes. John's story is not just a lesson about karma. It serves as a mirror reflecting our own lives. Happiness or suffering is not determined by what we possess, but by how we perceive and nurture our minds. When the mind is pure and kind, all actions lead to peace and meaning. However, if greed, anger, or envy take control, we will only harvest suffering, like a dark shadow that clings to our lives. Remember, changing your destiny doesn't depend on external factors. It begins with transforming your mind. A virtuous heart will not only bring good things to your own life, but also radiate light to those around you. If you find this story meaningful, please give us a like to show your support. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications so you won't miss the next profound lessons from the Dhammapada. Share this video with your friends and loved ones, so together we can spread these positive values and move towards a more peaceful and happy life. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.